I believe there are a number of different groups of people that would create the perfect franchisee for Rise. I think up till now, the model has been invest and run a business until I came along and looked at it as a pure investment and basically put people in place to run it for me. Right now, I really want to be focused as the master franchisee for the state. I'm focusing on folks who are looking for a way to invest and get a better return on their money by working the franchise. So I'm thinking cops and firemen who have retired with a good pension are great targets. I'm thinking, businessmen. We've got a franchisee out in Omaha, I believe, who's a doctor, and he's looking at it purely as an investment from an investment perspective, as I did. And so I think, the differentiation of people who could potentially be Rise franchisees is really pretty broad. We have had a couple of bad franchisees in the Rise history, and it became fairly obvious what that was. And that is, A, you've got to make sure you've got all of the money that it's going to take to invest up front so that you're not scrambling to try and step over dollars to save pennies. That's a critical mistake up front. Going forward, someone has to really be dedicated to, the customer service industry is not easy. There's all different kinds of businesses. And unless you understand what it is to deal with customers in the restaurant industry, and you really want to learn that, absorb it, become part of you, customer service is what it's all about. And you've got to want to, master that talent and that technique. The second thing is you have to believe in the quality proposition that Rise puts forward. You can't skimp. You got to follow exactly what the corporate mandate is so that the quality maintained in every location is the same from store to store and state to state. We have customers show up in downtown Nashville who came from stores all over the country. And, the first thing they say is, "Oh, I'm so glad there's a Rise here. It's my favorite breakfast spot." Well, they expect the same quality food in my Nashville location that they got in their location in Georgia or North Carolina or wherever else they came from. So in the way of advice, if you're thinking about becoming a Rise franchisee, there's a few different things that I would offer you. The first would be, if you're doing this to buy a job, think very carefully about what you're doing. If you're doing it as a long-term investment strategy, that's a solid reason to be doing this. A, you're looking for long-term passive income without having to spend a lot of time managing the process. B, you're looking for something you can build and sell. It's all about exit strategy. Great way to go about it. The advice that I'd give you to meet those ends would be, A, make sure you're coming in with your eyes wide open. You got to listen carefully. If you're investing in Tennessee, you not only have the Rise franchise team, you also have my team, which has succeeded at operating franchises in the state of Tennessee. If you're going outside of the state of Tennessee, you've got the Rise team. Follow their lead. Do everything they do in the corporate stores. Don't be creative with ideas. That's not going to get you where you want to be. What you want to do is be a really good student of the process. And if you follow that process and you do exactly what you're taught, and you follow the guidelines, you follow the recipes, when they decide to make a change, they didn't make that change lightly. They tried it out in their corporate stores for months before they say, this is a winning formula, let's adjust this. You got to trust that, and you got to follow them down that road. Your long-term picture is bright and sunny with this franchise. You can't help but win